All right, Industry 45, take one, apparently. Shane Christopher Neal Show, Giant TV Niagara. We've got Stevie Screebs right over here. We've got Greg Fraser right over here from Brighton Rock. And I'm going to tell you, and I've told you the story before. I swear the first time I saw Brighton Rock was, did you open for Boston?
Yeah,
I ask you this?
Cops
Right,
Coliseum.
at Cops Coliseum.
Yeah.
So I'm at Cops Coliseum. Going to see Boston. I'm not even a Boston fan. No, they were okay, but somebody dragged. I know. Sorry, I'm disappointing you already. But I was like, I show up and there's this band playing. And I'm like, shit, these guys are good. So this girl who I'm with says, I heard there's some. I thought she said bright new band.
Oh, okay.
I was like, this bright new band. How do I find them? And then somebody told me it was Brighton Rock, and that's the first time I had ever seen you guys play.
Wow. So
ever.
You were there just because she wanted to go to the concert?
Yeah, apparently she liked Boston. Who likes Boston? Anyway.
Well, I'll tell you a true story. This is
it's
Boston.
about time you told the truth.
Yeah. Most of my stories are true anyway. But anyway, my very first major concert at the Odd in Buffalo was Boston. I think I was 15 years old. And it was on their first album. And I still had the ticket stub. So there I am doing sound check. And Tom Scholes was still fooling around on his keyboards on the Hammond. And that happened to be on my side of the stage. So I brought the ticket stub with me. And I had a spare moment. I said, Tom, you wouldn't believe how special this night is for me. Like, my very first concert back in like 1976, 77.
Or you, Jesus.
Well, no, Boston.
The 60s.
So whenever it was Boston's debut album, I said, and it said $7 to get in at the time. And I said, can you sign this for me, man?
And he did?
He signed it right there. Yeah, it's just amazing how life takes you from there. There I was, my very first concert. Yeah. There I am, like, doing sound check with this guy on the stage.
You know what the funny thing is about that concert? That was Boston's first show of that tour they were on. So for their sound check, they did the entire show plus lights, full production.
Yeah.
We're sitting in the a front row. The whole arena's empty. I'm like, this is incredible. They did every song with lighting cues.
Who else was on that bill? Because
just us two.
Okay. So we're going to talk about Brighton Rock, and you guys started the band, you two, right?
Yeah,
back in the early 80s. So kind of what started this whole thing? You guys knew each other from high school, or how?
Yeah. We've known each other since he's a year older. So like I was 15, he was 16.
Exactly.
And just liked all the same bands and stuff like that. You know, I went on tour when I was 16, and he came and did lights for us.
Yeah.
He was still in high school. I quit high school, and then we just always kept in touch. You know, I'd start a new band, and then and he'd have a band, and we got to get together. We got to start our own band, and we kept trying to do that, and eventually we did.
So, and you found the rest of the band how? Jerry came from.
Well, it's a long story, but in a condensed form. Jerry wasn't our first singer.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, he was our second singer, yeah.
And this is back to the dedication and like for young musicians that are coming up today. Greg and I finally found a singer that we thought, because we had the tunes, but we didn't have anybody to sing. So we found a guy from Brantford. We won't get into names or bands or anything, but
Dave McFarlane.
Vince Neil.
He looked like Vince Neil before Vince Neil. So anyway, he had no transportation. So Greg and I and we rehearsed in St. Catharines. Greg and I would drive to Brantford, pick him up, drive just back to St. Catharines, rehearse, drive him home.
After,
and then drive back home. And Niagara Falls and St. Catharines. And this was going on for months. And then
was the band called Brighton Rock then?
No.
It was, okay.
I think we were going to call it Lord.
At the beginning, and then we changed it to Heart Attack eventually. But eventually we got to the point where it's like, dude, can you take a bus one way or the other? Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So, and we even recorded a couple demos with them.
One with Can't Wait for the Night.
Yeah.
With different versions.
Yeah.
Different verses, but the same chorus.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then his girlfriend got pregnant or something.
Yeah.
And that was it. It's like, okay, well, he can't go on tour.
And it took care of itself.
He's no good for us.
It took care of himself. And then we went on this search. There was a couple other singers we were interested in, and because of who was available and who wasn't, we finally got Jerry.
From where? Where was he from? Hamilton?
He's from Hamilton. Yeah, he used a band called the Rockers, and I used to be in a band called Lennox. So we play the same clubs once in a while. Like,
so you knew him from?
I
the
knew,
scene.
but I never hung out with them. But I've seen them. They were great. They were a lot more heavier than the band that I was in. And my manager from Lennox, who managed Honeymoon Suite, he was managing my new band with me and Screebs here, and. So, like I said, that Dave McFarlane, he recorded Can't Wait for the Night. So we were already starting to get in kind of label interest, because of that song, Can't Wait for the Night. And then he goes, you should. So I told him, like, we need a new singer. He goes, you should get the guy from the Rockers, Jerry. I go, yeah, I think he would be good, but I think he might be too heavy for us. I don't think he would like some of our ballads. I think he might think, they're too wimpy and stuff, right? We didn't know, because when I seen him, they were doing all like AC/DC, like all the heavy stuff. Every song was heavy. I go, no, he's too heavy for us. He's not going to like this song. He'll probably laugh at it, right? He goes, trust me, just have a meeting with him.
Yeah.
So we got together, me, Screebs, and Jerry at the old Welland House. That's the first time.
I love the Welland House.
Yeah. So we had a beer there. It was the first time we ever actually sat down, and I said, "What kind of bands do you do, man?" I'm figuring it's gonna be, I'm into Motorhead and Priest and Maiden. He goes, "I like Journey. I like Yes. I like Genesis." I went, "No way! Yeah. I can't believe it." I go, "Wow. Okay. Well,
maybe this will work.
Let's get you in the studio and." We've already got a verse, a chorus ready to go. Sing over top of this and see. And then when he sang the chorus or Can't Wait for the Night, that chorus just came alive.
So that was the first song you would have played with him, because that's not the first song that you put out.
In the Movies was one of them too.
Yeah, but Can't Wait for the Night was the first one he sang on.
Okay.
And then the verses were different, right? He changed the verses later. But that's the thing. We didn't gig. I wanted to audition even the previous singer in the studio, because that all comes down to what you sound like on the record, right? No matter how cool you look, it all comes down to the songs. The record company wants to hear good songs.
Yeah.
So he brought that song to life. So I think we're onto something here, man. And he likes the same kind of music we do, and that was it. And we just built from there.
But
go ahead.
Not to cut you off. The main thing was, though, we had to get along
as a band. Like
besides the music, like Greg and I had that agreement before, because I had my reservations about Jerry, and it was only about perception. I didn't know him.
He's
at
a
all.
prima donna. It's okay.
Yeah, well, singers are singers, right? Like that, they have that LSD disease, right?
Yes.
Lead singer disease. But once we got together and we got along, before we even recorded, like Greg said, we knew, the chemistry was there.
So where did Martin Victor come into this equation?
Yeah, he was in a band in Buffalo. We were pretty popular back when Talus and all those big bands, they were called Bucks. And we used to go watch Bucks. We used to like Bucks, eh?
Yeah,
and we always thought,
band.
God, if we ever had a keyboard player, we got to get like a guy like that guy. Like he's not just hanging back. He wants to be a front man too at being a keyboard player, eh? Good singer. And we tracked him down when we were looking for keys, and his band broke up. He goes, "Yeah, let's do it." You got label interest, count me in. So we used to have to go back and forth to Buffalo, and it's funny because he used to have this old van, this big red van, and he never used to wash it. Never used to wash the van, so you could literally go with your finger and just write stuff on the side of the van, eh? So he'd have to go back over the border every night, right? So on the driver's side, we'd put like legalized drugs. I smoke weed. He wouldn't even know, right? He'd pull up to the border, citizenship, and they're reading this clear as day, right? Pull over, you buggers.
Now that picture, that's Mark on drums,
right?
Me on bass, and Greg on guitar. We're rehearsing in Buffalo at a warehouse in Buffalo where they reserve practice units, and that was when we got Martin in the band. So Greg, Mark, and I all moved to Buffalo for 6 months? And that's we worked on all the bed tracks.
We couldn't bring our own gear over the border because you need,
Right, yeah.
So he'd rented us like the worst, cheapest stuff.
Crappy stuff.
Oh my God. But it got us through.
I like the Burkholder McLean hockey jersey.
Yeah, you went to I went there.
I'm good friends with Eddie right now.
Yeah. So to cut a long story short, Jerry wasn't there for when we put together the bed tracks for a demo there. And so I remember picking Jerry up in Fort Erie or something at the bus station, and I take him to Buffalo where we're rehearsing, and he goes, "Where the hell are you taking me?" And we start rehearsing. He goes, "Are we safe?" I go, "No, I go, we're about as safe as you want to be, dude."
I'm going to take a picture of that. We're going to put that up.
So that was all part of the journey, you know what I mean, writing those tunes.
So let me ask you this. Hold on. I own this, still in cellophane.
Yeah.
So this was an EP that came out first?
Yeah, before we...
Because Martin's on the EP.
Yep.
He's on those tracks.
And Breaking Down the Barricade was on the Q107
right.
homegrown album.
Contest.
That's what got us going.
Would you like to buy it? I can sell it for a good price.
I see it's on Facebook somewhere. Yeah.
But yeah, I found it this morning.
Hey.
I forgot I even had it.
Wow.
That's vintage, that one.
Yeah.
So you do this before you get to Young, Wild, and Free, right? So let's go to the album Young, Wild, and Free. And you got Jerry in the band now. And this first song, was it the first song you released, Can't Wait for the Night?
We Came to Rock.
We Came to Rock was the first one. So who picked the song? Because you're signed to We now.
WEA, W-E-A.
Yeah, Warner Electra
Atlantic, right.
So they picked We Came to Rock or what?
I think it was a combination of everybody. I think us and management and then the label. Okay, it's got a hook to it. We didn't want to release a ballad as your debut song, right? It gives mixed messages, like we want to establish that we are a rockin' band,
right?
And then hit them with the ballad maybe second, which did.
Which you did, Can't Wait for the Night.
Right.
So that song, I remember coming home from, I told you this story a couple weeks ago, that come home from school and much music, and there it was every night, like 5:30, Can't Wait for the Night. Yeah. So let's talk about not just the album, but what the video era meant for this, right? Because here you're a new band, you got a new album out, and you're played on Much Music, like constantly. So that
that's when Much Music was just getting introduced. Too.
Yeah.
MTV was just taking off. So then Canada goes, hey,
Toronto Rock.
we got to get our own version too. So we were lucky to be at the right time because there wasn't a lot of content yet. So that's why you would see us a lot.
Right.
Because
that's a good point. So you really weren't that good. There was just there was nothing else to play. So when I look at the
process of elimination.
When I look at like Jack is Back,
Yeah.
Barricade, and it's funny because when I talk to Jerry, he can't stand the pussy rock. He wants all the hard and heavy stuff.
That's the Hamilton Steel City in him.
Right.
But what attracts the girls? That's what we'd say to Jerry. Say, hey, if the girls don't come, the guys aren't going to come.
Doesn't matter.
You need a balance.
So when you got to Can't Wait for the Night, was that again WEA that decided to put that out, or you as a band thought that was
like I mentioned earlier, that was the song that pretty much got us the record deal.
Right.
That was the one they were banking on. That was the hook. That chorus they really felt strong about. And so that was inevitable. That was going to be a single.
And so you guys, who was writing the songs? You like
I write all the music.
You're writing all the music.
Yeah.
And so you would write the songs to these, and then
Jerry writes the words.
Yeah. And then what do you do?
I'm there in the process of putting it all together.
The bass player puts it all together.
Well, in the process,
he helps with the arrangement and put it this way, he's definitely somebody that you can bounce stuff off of. Like, hey, you like this? It kind of reminds me of blah blah blah. Okay, and then boom, that song gets tossed, right?
You have to have honesty between each other and trust. Like,
so where was it recorded?
Phase 1 Studios in Toronto.
In Toronto, and Michael Wagener was the producer.
That's right.
You knew Michael before, you didn't?
No, he was unknown.
He
was unknown. No, but we were getting a lot of submissions. Like the record company goes, you got to get a producer, and so they would. One of the guys was what's the lead singer, Miles Goodwin from April Wine. Yeah. He wanted to produce it. He wanted to do it down in the Bahamas and stuff. Eh? And then when I heard Michael's stuff, I don't know how we got it. He was the
Dockin'?
It was Dockin' under lock and key.
Except was what we really liked.
Yeah, but he had a Dockin' under lock and key, but it wasn't released yet. Yeah. So that was his next release. I heard that and went, that's what we want to sound like. That.
So you got to pick your producer though, like for
pretty
the most
much,
part?
Yeah, I would say so.
So explain to me from the music business side of it. So you're how old when Young, Wild, and Free came out? It was 1986. So
that's when it was released.
I was 25.
Yeah, I think at 85 when we recorded it.
So mid 20s.
Yeah.
I remember having my 25th birthday during the recording session because there was. Do you want to hear this story?
Sure.
Okay, this is about
Ryan wants to hear this story.
This is about me again, right? Nobody else.
I wasn't there. Just to let you know.
This is about me. So I'd already finished my bass parts, the bed tracks.
So you're done and you're looking for a good time.
We're working on the mix at this point. Everybody had already recorded all the parts, so I'm just sitting in the lounge, just chilling. Probably got a little buzz going. And,
that's unusual for you.
Yeah, and I'm relaxed because I'm going, hey, everything's done. So all of a sudden, Michael comes out. He goes, and I'm the type of guy I don't want anybody to know it's my birthday. So far the day's gone good. Nobody said nothing. Blah blah blah. He goes, we just noticed something in the mix. There's the note where the bass is clashing with the keyboards. And he goes, we got to redo part of the bass. I go, frig. So they pull me in, they sit me in the control chair, and they said, just close your eyes and sit back and listen to it, and you'll hear what we're saying. Because we've overanalyzed everything.
Right.
You go over it over and over.
You start hearing things that aren't there.
Yeah,
sure.
Next thing I know, this dude comes in with a ghetto blaster. Tom Cochran's in the other studio, Studio A, Studio B at Phase One. Next thing you know, his whole band comes over, and whatever guys from my band were there, I don't think anybody was there. Next thing I know, they're playing the song. The guy plays the ghetto blaster. And this gorgeous blonde comes walking in. She does this. Michael Wagener paid and grabbed me a professional. Professional.
So that's why it's your favorite album.
Yeah. And so that just brings me back to I knew I was 25 at the time.
See
so
how we remember that.
It's funny what triggers. So what year that would it be? I'm going to be 58. So
that's
the famous lap dance of Stevie Screebs.
Yeah.
So back then, so you're in your mid-20s. You have a record deal. Yeah. What's money like? Like the record label pays you per diem. They give you because
we were sleeping
we
were sleeping at the studio on couches, on the floors, and sleeping bags. We had no money.
Right.
We were beyond broke.
But they gave you an advance.
The budget
to do the record.
The budget was awesome.
Right.
Yeah. I could get into management and stuff like that now, but I'm not going to go.
But no, I just want to get the general idea. Like, so they paid for
everything we had went in to the album.
And you have a manager at this time?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We wouldn't have got the record deal. Stephen Prendergast, he managed us and Honeymoon Suite.
You said that, right? Okay.
That's the only two bands he managed. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But we were broke. We had no money. Yeah. And people don't realize when a record company gives you money like that to make a record, you got to pay that money back.
Right.
They're not just saying, here's some money.
Recoup is a word that not too many people like.
So if they give us money for hotels and all that kind of stuff, we got to pay that back.
Right.
So we wanted to make sure we're keeping it as low as possible. So we're literally sleeping on the floors.
And I wouldn't want to say they own you, but when you borrow money, it's almost like borrowing from a bank.
Right.
They're almost calling shots that you don't like too. So we've seen it with Aerosmith and the making a pump and all that.
Right.
The record company comes in and goes, no, that ain't happening. You know what I mean? So there's a balance there.
So as we wrap up 1986-ish with Young, Wild, and Free, tell me, you went on tour to support the album?
Oh, yeah. We never stopped touring.
All over Canada and the U.S. or what?
Yeah.
When we did the Can't Wait for the Night video, when it was time to wrap, they said, okay, that's it. That's a wrap. We had our tour bus, like right in the same complex as us. We got on a tour bus and drove to
Savannah, Georgia
that same night.
Yeah.
And then the next day when we got there, we played in front of over 10, 15,000 people on a St. Patrick's Day festival.
Yeah.
The second largest in the world, other than New York.
Yeah. Savannah,
it was
Georgia.
crazy. Yeah. And it's like,
so you didn't care about the money at this point?
No.
Because you're having a good time, right? You're playing for the people.
Like everything's covered. Like all our meals are covered.
Yeah, sure.
It just we weren't making money to put in the bank.
Right, yeah.
It just, so that way if, say you take 3 weeks off on the road, you still have money coming in. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because that's what happens. We don't have unemployment. There's no nothing. So if you're not playing,
you're not making money.
And the album's really hasn't sold nothing yet. Yeah, you don't really make a lot of money. So
the album was certified gold in '89, charted 82 in Canada. So Greg and Stevie will be right back. We're going to get into 1988.
There you go.
And take a deep breath. History 45 podcast show, Giant TV Niagara.